It was a point in time in my life, fellas, where I couldn't stop beating my dick. Every single day I was beating off, beating off, beating off. And I kept telling myself, this is the last time, this is the last time. But I found myself beating my meat, walking to that motherfucking clothes basket, wiping my shit off, saying, I swear this is the last time, going right back into bed and beating it again for days and weeks and years amongst time. Every January 1st, I would say, this is my last year beating it. I'm tired of beating it. I'm X amount of years old. I can't continue to go through this. I can't continue to go through this path, right? I find myself again and again beating my meat, beating my meat, beating my meat. Fellas, and one thing that you have to realize is that Pornhub has over 900 million visitors monthly, right? I'm not the only one going through this struggle, right? 31% of men haven't had sex within the last year, which is one of the underlying components of why men beat their dick, because they can't get the real thing, right? 11% of men report porn addiction, right? Means nearly 1.5 out of every 5 men is addicted to porn. You walk down the street and walk past 5 motherfuckers, fellas, at least 1.5 of them motherfuckers beats their dick every single day, multiple times a day. You might be one of them. I was once upon a time, right? The average man masturbates 3 to 5 times per week. 3 to 5 times per week, fellas. That is nuts, right? And the average time spent masturbating is 69 minutes per week. Fellas, there's 168 hours in a week. 168, right? You work for 8, go to work, commute to work, sleep, eat, right? You still have to make time to maximize the gym, maximize your purpose, spend time with the kids. The reason you don't feel like you have time, fellas, is because you're spending over an hour a day beating your dick. And I was there once upon a time, and this is the average, fellas. I recall a time I would spend 2 to 3 hours beating my dick, right? But one of the major components of what I had to adopt and understand before I could quit this toxic habit, the number one habit that I believe holds men back, is just understanding the cons of it, right? And the first con, fellas, is erectile dysfunction, right? Fellas, 22% of men actively suffer from erectile dysfunction, right? AKA meaning your dick can't get up, right? Beating your meat every day, fellas, alters your brain pathways, which has an effect on your sexual arousal, right? Your brain gets so adapted to the pixels on the screen that a regular woman doesn't even get you hard anymore. Fellas, I recall a time I linked back up with a chick that I hadn't hit in years. I'm not gonna lie, fellas, this is probably one of the baddest chicks I ever had, bro. I linked up with her, man, right? I'm living with my grandparents at the time. I was such a fucking dweeb. My grandparents sleep, right? We end up texting X, Y, and Z. I'm like, just slide over real quick. I'm in the basement. They sleep. They won't know you here. X, Y, and Z. She slide over bad, bro. Like, look, even better than when I had first met her, right? She slide through, fellas. Right, we chilling, having a good time. The music going. I got the red light special on. The vibes is kicking it. Everything is 10 out of 10. Right, and they get down to the point where we about to do the nitty gritty. So you feel me? I'm kissing on her, kissing her neck, kissing on her, talking to her, feeling on her. Right, foreplaying X, Y, and Z, feeling on that motherfucker, rubbing the clit, doing everything I gotta do, fellas. Right, and they get time to the nitty gritty where I gotta slide in that motherfucker, fellas, and I couldn't get hard. I couldn't get hard. I was so attracted to this woman, and my shit just wouldn't get up. It wouldn't get up, right? And I'm making every excuse. I'm like, yeah, it's a little cold. I'm a little nervous. I ain't seen you in a long time, right? Can you give me some head? All of these excuses, fellas. She was so turned off. She literally put her clothes on, got up, and said, yeah, I'ma go, right? Fellas, I was so fucking embarrassed. She was bad, right? But my shit just couldn't stay up. It just couldn't stay up, fellas, right? And part of this was because porn gives you an unreal dopamine spike, right? And these spikes when you're watching porn are nothing like real life. They're way higher than real life. If there was a graph of your dopamine, fellas, this would be the real thing, sex, and this would be porn, right? So I was so used to that dopamine high when I was with a real chick, even though she was bad, my shit couldn't get up, right? Because you got to understand, fellas, erectile dysfunction isn't a penis problem, it's a brain problem. It wasn't anything physically. My brain was literally telling me, this is not what you're used to accustomed to seeing. This is not what has accumulated you ejaculating in the past. We're not used to this, so you won't get hard. It sucked! But that's just one side of the coin, fellas. Next, it reduces your size. Yes, fellas, jacking off makes your dick smaller. It does, right? It does. When you're not as hard as you possibly can be, fellas, right? This means that your penis is not full of blood, right? Most men jack off because they are stressed, right? And they are stressed because they just jacked off. It's one of the worst cycles as a man, and the worst cycle I was in, and the worst cycle that I know a lot of you are in. Right? You worked 40 hours a week, you're stressed out, that causes you to beat your meat, and you told yourself January 1st, this was the last year beating your dick, and then you do it again. It is the worst cycle as a man, yet every single man goes through it, right? And what does that do? When you're stressed out, fellas, that lowers your blood flow, right? And fellas, you have to understand with size, fellas, when you're at your peak, all that means is that in the section that your penis is in, right? It's flowing with blood, right? High blood flow means you have a hard penis, right? And lack of blood flow means you have a small penis, right? Fellas, the average penis size is 5.5. Right? The average penis girth is 4.7 inches. Regardless of what God gave you, fellas, size matters when pleasing chicks. Right? It does. You can't be this 1% man and check every single C. Cut, charisma, church, character, clout, cash, combat, but not know how to please a chick. I can tell you right now, fellas, size matters. And regardless of what God gave you, fellas, you want to make the most out of it. And I can tell you right now, if you're beating your meat every single day, right? You are reducing the probability that you're at your fullest potential. She's faking them orgasms, brother. You're not making her bust, I can assure you. She's trying to get it over with as fast as possible. And part of it is because you're not at your fullest erection quality. She doesn't feel shit. I promise you, right? Masturbation does not allow you to be at your fullest potential. I promise you, fellas. Next is reduced sensitivity, right? When you beat your meat every day, fellas, you are desensitized, right? Fellas, I used to cope so bad. I was so lost, man. I swear. I used to say, women are a distraction, so I'll just beat my meat, right? When in reality, fellas, I was in love with my hands. I loved the way my hand was making me feel, that a real pussy, a real vagina didn't fathom me. It didn't feel the same. I was sexually active, but even when a chick would leave after I busted her doonies down, I would go right back to my hand. Why? Because it felt better. I even found myself, right? I'd be with a chick and I'd tell her, yeah, play with yourself, and beat my dick to watching the chick play with herself. Because I was so addicted to my motherfucking hand. Fellas, when you're addicted to porn, you are masturbating 1 to 3 times per day with your hand. Over time, your penis gets used to that feeling, and it associates that feeling with the process that gets you aroused, right? Now, when you have sex with a woman, your penis gets soft so frequently versus when you weren't addicted to porn and when you weren't jacking off. Fellas, 5% of men from the ages of 18 to 25 struggle with staying harder longer than 10 minutes due to porn addiction. Because you're so used to your hand. You're in that pussy and you're like, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel like my hand. Of course, because you're squeezing that motherfucker with your hand. Pussy is good, but it's not as tight as when you're squeezing that motherfucker, fellas. I can assure you, right? Next, fellas, it lowers your testosterone, right? Fellas, when I was beaten off, bald and depressed, broke, hated who I saw in the motherfucking mirror, and chicks was playing me to the left, as you're seeing right here, right? Part of it because I was lowering my testosterone, fellas. What is testosterone? Testosterone is the primary male hormone that makes men men. If you look at the pros of high testosterone, fellas, right? Number one is relentless drive, right? Gives you strong motivation, ambition, and a competitive edge as a man, right? Next is high libido and confidence. Libido is the primary sexual hormone, right? Basically, fellas, all in all, when you have high testosterone, it gives you stronger sexual performance and presence, right? Next is lean muscle and low body percentage, right? How can you be this 1% man and be 8 to 10% body fat but have low testosterone? It doesn't add up. Next is sharp focus and mental clarity. Fellas, when your testosterone is high, you're able to think faster. You can focus more. You're locked in. The reason you read 5 pages, brother, and can't focus because you have low testosterone. Why do you have low testosterone? Because you keep beating your dick. You can't do 30 minutes of deep work. Why? Because you can't focus. Why? Because you have brain fog. Because you keep beating your dick. They're completely parallel and aligned, right? Next, let's get into the cons of testosterone, fellas. On the other side of the coin, you have zero drive. No motivation, no ambition. Everything feels like a chore, right? Next, you have low libido, weak performance, reduced sex drive, right? Next, you don't have 8 to 10% body fat. You gain fat. You lose muscle, especially body fat. Fellas, newsflash, these chicks don't want a dad bod. When your testosterone is low, you're more likely to have that fat. Look at my fucking ass. Look at them. Part of it is due because I don't beat my dick, right? Next, we get into brain fog and low focus. Fellas, you just think slower. You can't concentrate. Your memory is bad, right? You watch my videos and forget them the next day because you keep beating your dick and you're giving yourself brain fog, brother, right? Next is depression and irritability. Fellas, now this I've experienced firsthand. Literally, when I would beat my dick, fellas, I would literally feel the worst I've ever felt. No ambition, no drive. Didn't want to do anything. Wanted to lay in the bed all fucking day. And was wondering why I was standing in the same spot and wasn't the man that I needed to be. It was strictly because I was beating my dick. Fellas, being a 1% man is hard enough. But you are increasing the friction and making it harder when you are beating your dick and killing your testosterone levels. Stop doing it, please. Right? Next we get into socially destructive. Right? Issue with overconsumption, brother, is that you think porn sex is real sex, and it's not. It's not, right? 88% of porn scenes, fellas, consist of zero foreplay. Fellas, women are not like men in regards to arousal, right? Foreplay is extremely important in warming them up to sexual intercourse. Skipping this step is fucking up the sexual experience for women. She is not as aroused as she would be. Fellas, this is a mistake I used to make. I used to meet a chick, would be down to the nitty-gritty, and I want to get right into it, and I wonder, damn, why is her pussy not wet? Brother, I didn't warm that shit up. I didn't kiss her, talk to her, right? And sometimes foreplay has nothing to do with anything sexual. It's everything leading up to the moment. It's how the text messages were the day of, the date you took her on, the ambience, the music you were playing in the car, the slight leg tap in the car when she was in the passenger seat. All of that shit is foreplay. When you're a dweeb and you watch porn, you think that it's normal to just get right into it, brother. Holy shit, you're drying her pussy up. I can assure you, she's not completely aroused, right? Porn sets an unrealistic expectation sexually, right? This leaves you mentally and physically unaroused by the majority of women you have sex with. I struggle with this as well. I thought every chick I met was gonna throw that motherfucker back like Pinky. I thought every chick I met was gonna suck that motherfucker like Jasmine Banks. No, they're fucking pros, brother. The average chick doesn't know how to do that. So I find myself mentally and physically unaroused by women, fellas. And it's fucking yourself up. And next thing you know, you think, I don't want the real thing. I just want Jasmine Banks and Pinky. Pixels on the motherfucking screen. You're literally a cuck. You're literally a cuck. You remove that motherfucking screen. Would you beat your dick watching Pinky get her back blown out if they were sitting in this motherfucking living room with me right now? Would you beat your dick to that? Probably not. Well, brother, that's what you're doing. You're literally a cuck. Stop doing it, please. You're ruining the sexual experience, right? One in men who watch porn feel helpless and depressed. Why is this, right? Because porn psychologically makes you unconfident, right? Which makes you have anxiety, which in effect makes you socially awkward, right? Lastly, fellas, porn allows you to look at women as objects and in a sexual manner 24/7. You build no real connection with women and your attentions are purely focused on sex, which in turn is a turnoff for women. Fellas, it doesn't matter how sexually desirable you are to a woman. If you just hit the ground rolling and you text a woman and talking about sex, or the first link you're talking about sex, brother, it is so unattractive. The reason why I meet women and they so inclined to be sexually interactive with me on the first, second, or third date is because I act like I don't want it. And in reality, I really don't, baby. Are you going, if you give it to me, cool. If you don't, it doesn't really matter to me. And that energy is so attractive to them. But a lot of men don't have that energy because they're thirsty due to beating their dick every day, the pictures on the motherfucking screen. Don't let it be you in 2026. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how, right? Let's get into the solutions, fellas. If you're currently dealing with erectile dysfunction or your testosterone levels are low, the best thing you could do, fellas, is go to the gym. Go to the gym. Fellas, I wake up every day and my shit is rock hard. Why? Because I strength train 5 times a week, right? I'm lifting heavy, right? You also must prioritize your sleep. Fellas, I know I speak on sacrificing sleep to be the man you have to be, but every man should at least be getting 7 hours, right? I want you to wake up early and wake up 2 hours earlier than the average individual so you can have 30 more days in them by the end of the year. But you have to go to bed early so you can make sure you're getting 7 hours of sleep. The reason that your dick can't get up and your testosterone levels are low is because you're going on 5 hours of sleep every fucking day. You cannot do that. You have to prioritize sleep. Not only sleep, but you must prioritize the correct macronutrients, fellas. I start my day with 8 eggs, right? I'm eating red meat. Right? I'm taking zinc, magnesium, ashwagandha, vitamin D, right? I take L-arginine and L-citrulline complex. These are all foods and natural supplements that will cure your erectile dysfunction, fellas, and higher testosterone levels. Screenshot this, do whatever you got to do, and start taking these on a day-to-day basis, fellas. Outside of the red meat and the eggs, you can pick up all of these from a vitamin shop, or a GNC, right? Next, we get into how to quit the actual porn addiction, fellas. This is very, very powerful, so pay close attention. The first thing you got to do is remove the triggers, fellas. One thing you must understand about a habit, fellas, is the 4 stages. Cue, craving, response, reward. The cue would be you on Instagram, right? And you see a big booty bitch doing Bulgarian split squats, right? The craving will be like, holy shit, I want to go beat my dick to Pornhub, right? The response will be, oh shit, I'm beating my dick, right? And the reward will be you ejaculating. But it all started with that cue. You have to remove the triggers. What are the triggers? 9 times out of 10 are the apps and who you follow on Instagram. But in 1% Academy, we take it even more in depth. I'll share my screen with you guys. And as you can see, this is a dashboard that all my brothers get in 1% Academy. But if you look over here to Mindset Mastery, we have something called Delete the Demon, right? And within this, we track cue, craving, response, reward with different habits, not just porn addiction, but weed, alcohol, vaping, whatever the case may be, right? Because we have to understand the demon before we can delete it. We want to know what time it triggered it, right? What triggered it? What were you doing before? How did you feel after? What was the urge level? Did you try to resist? What were the notes? And once we gather this data from a 3 to 5 week standpoint, we're able to delete the demon and solely standardize before we optimize, before we cut it cold turkey. The reason why a lot of men relapse is because they try to cut it cold turkey. They don't even understand why they're doing it and try removing those triggers. And that's why they keep relapsing. Don't make that same mistake. This is what we use in 1% Academy. Make something like this or something similar and you'll be good to go, fellas, right? Next, you have to replace the demon, right? So once you stop beating your meat, fellas, what should you do, right? I recommend reading, right? I recommend journaling, right? I recommend doing some deep work. I recommend, watching educational content and taking notes from the content. Those are all things that are high leverage that you can use to replace. So anytime you get the urge, just habit stack that and think, okay, I'm getting the urge to watch porn. Let me go do this, right? That's one of the most underrated ways, fellas. The next way is find an accountability partner, right? And make a wager. Bro, I'll pay you $1,000 if I beat my dick. Right, fellas, I can tell you right now, if you got a wager on that motherfucker and you know you got to pay that motherfucker $1,000 if you beat your dick and you not going to lie and be a dweeb, I can assure you the probability of you beating it will decrease because you don't want to lose that $1,000, right? You got to find somebody that you're going to trust and not going to judge you. A lot of my guys at 1% Academy, yeah, they're not betting me $1,000, but I am their accountability partner. They trust me. Why? Because I've been there and I'm never going to judge them. I'm not their friend. I'm their brother, right? Next, we get into phone placement, right? Fellas, this device right here is the reason we beat our dick, right? 9 times out of 10, fellas, you're not going on the fucking laptop. I hope not. Or just turning it on the TV. It's this device. It's convenient. It's right here. It's quick. You eliminate this device, fellas, you'll decrease the probability of beating your dick, fellas, right? And a lot of times when we beating our dick, fellas, it's at night, right? I don't beat my dick, fellas, but I do be on my phone at night. And so to go to sleep early, fellas, I just put my phone on the counter. I don't even bring my phone in my bedroom past 9 p.m. Unless there's some work and some high leverage task that I need my phone for and I still have to do. Or I'm scripting out a video or something like that. The only thing I got in my room, fellas, is my laptop. Just to hear white noise music to put me to sleep or watch an educational podcast before I go to sleep, right? So put the phone in a cabinet, turn your alarm on still, leave the door open if you need your alarm or invest in an alarm clock, fellas, right? But if you just remove this phone at nighttime, fellas, you'd be surprised that you stop beating your dick. And if you get up in the middle of the night to go get that motherfucking phone, fellas, that is a problem, right? Next, fellas, is make a DFAP list, right? So this is a list, fellas. I'll put it on the screen where you literally list all the thoughts that you have after you beat your dick and the cons of what beating your dick has led you to in real life, right? Maybe it was a story that you got with a chick. Maybe you losing your hair. Maybe your testosterone is low. Maybe you have erectile dysfunction. Maybe you kept telling yourself this is the last time, right? Maybe you know that it's a sin and God doesn't want you to do it. A lot of men think they need more information, but they don't need more information. They just need to be reminded of the information you already know. If you can continuously remind yourself of how you feel after you beat your dick 2 to 3 times a day, brother, throughout the day, you're going to be so convinced like, holy shit, I got to stop. When nighttime hit, you're not going to want to do it. This is one of the biggest components of how I was able to stop, fellas, because I made that list and I read it every fucking day. Do it. Lastly, which is the most powerful to me, fellas, is to spend time with God, man. Spend time with God. It's very hard for you to beat your dick when you read the Bible at night, when you pray at night, right? Because you know it's a sin. Right? You beat your dick after that, fellas. It's like slapping God in the face. Imagine you saw a dog just beating off. You would be like, holy shit, this dog is fucked. Well, newsflash, brother. That's how God is looking at you when you beat your dick. Right? When you pray to God at night and speak with him and read his word, fellas, you're decreasing the probability that you're going to beat it. Right? Because you know it's wrong. Right? And if you do beat your dick right after you talk to God, fellas, I hope that it's bothering you and it's not just, oh, it's another day beat my dick. Because it's a sin, fellas. One of the worst. The Bible says to run away from lust. It's one of the only sins that God tells us just to run directly away from. It kills you as a man in so many ways, shapes, and forms, fellas. And porn is one of the biggest components that holds men back. I want you to stop beating your dick in 2026. This has to be the last year, right? And if beating your dick is an addiction that you're struggling with, fellas, right? And you've tried to stop, and you tried to stop on and on again, but you're having trouble doing it, right? I'll put the link in the description. Book a call. I've helped many of my guys stop this porn addiction. Not only that, but get fitness results like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So if you want to work one-on-one with me, fellas, in the motherfucking trenches and make failure impossible and stop jacking off and get in the best shape of your life to make 2026 the best year of your life, I put the link in the description. Book a call and we'll see if you're a good fit. But don't book a call if you're not willing to put in the motherfucking work, because I'm here to be your brother, not be your friend. And we're going to have to do a lot of uncomfortable shit and a lot of shit that you've never done to get something you've never had. But that's the video for today, fellas. Please stop beating your dick in 2026. It's leaving you stagnant. I've been there, fellas. Stop doing it. Please!